Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode on Consulting Interview Prep with me, Nilay Bhatnagar. In this episode, we'll dive deeper into how to apply investment decision framework that we saw in the previous video. So, we'll work with a real McKinsey case and try and apply the framework that we learned in the previous video and see how we can approach investment decision type of cases. All right. Now, a couple of things before we dive in. The way you should use this video is I'm going to read out the prompt. You should listen to the prompt carefully, make some notes, and then jot down your clarifying questions. Right? Then I'll move on to clarifying questions. We'll have a little bit of a discussion about what clarifying questions to ask. And if there's any very important or pertinent information about the case, I'll definitely share that with you. Post that, you should really stop this video and then take some time to come up with your own structure. Right? And then join me back as I discuss the solution or the approach that we can take for Benjamin Carpets. All right. So now let's dive into the case. So as I told you, I'm going to read out the prompt. So let's assume our client is a family-owned carpet company called Benjamin Carpets. They manufacture and sell carpets to both residential and commercial players. It sells primarily through retailers, but in some cases they also directly sell to the customers. They currently manufacture 5 days a week, 16 hours a day. Now, Benjamin Carpets, or this company, or the management of this company, is considering investing in a new technology that would impact the carpet making process. So below you can see the current process, which is labeled as old process, and the new process is the changed process as a result of the investment in this technology. All right. And so the total investment for acquiring this technology will be $25 million. And the overall question Benjamin Carpets is asking us is whether or not they should move ahead with this investment. So how will you advise Benjamin Carpets, or what areas will we evaluate in order to develop a recommendation about whether or not to invest in this new technology? All right. So I hope you've jotted down the key points about the case and also some clarifying questions. Right. So now let's move on to some clarifying questions. Again, this is a McKinsey case, so they already inundate you with a lot of information. Right. But there are a few questions that should be definitely asked, right? The first one is, I would love to understand what are the key benefits of using this technology and why is Benjamin Carpets even considering an investment in this technology, right? Have they seen this elsewhere? Like maybe their competitors have done something similar and they've seen like great results. So what is the motive and what are the key benefits of using this technology, right? So let's say the answer to that question comes out as, this technology will help them reduce the reliance of labor, potentially lowering their overall cost structure, and at the same time, it will allow them to actually improve the quality of the carpets. Okay. The second question I would ask over here is, do they have any specific financial objectives, right? So we know we have to make a $25 million investment. Right. So what is the criteria for success? Maybe there's a payback period that they're looking for, that we should be able to recoup this investment through our incremental profits over the next 3 to 5 years. Okay, so that would be my second question. And let's assume the answer to that is like they have not specified any specific targets. Okay. And the final question maybe I'll ask is like, how are they envisioning this, right? Like, do they want to replace the current manufacturing process completely? Are they thinking of doing this as a pilot just to see how this works out, right? This might impact the scale of things that you will cover in your structure. Okay. So for now, let's assume the answer to this question is they want to completely replace their current process with this new technology, right? So it's going to be a full swap. All right. So now, as I suggested, you should take some time, pause this video, and think through what areas would you want to evaluate in order to arrive at a recommendation for Benjamin Carpets. All right. All right. So moving on to the solution. So as I mentioned in the framework or approach video, there are 4 areas that you'll evaluate in any investment decision case, right? The first area is going to be what will be the financial impact. The second area will be what will be the strategic impact of this decision or this investment. The third area will be what are the key operational considerations that we have to be mindful of. And finally, we'll wrap up by talking about some key risks, right? So starting off with the financial impact, right? This is probably the most important bucket in any investment decision case, right? Investments typically have a strong financial model or like strong financial matrix that determine the success of that investment. Payback periods, right? Return on investment, return on invested capital, all of these metrics or measures are used to define the success criteria for any investment. So that's why we're starting with the financial impact of this decision. Now, within financial impact, we're going to look at 3 different things. We'll first look at the overall market characteristics of the carpet market, right? We'll then take a look at the incremental revenues that can arise from investing in this technology. Remember, the keyword is incremental, over and above what we currently have, right? And the third area would be incremental cost, right? We already have a cost structure. When we invest in this technology, there might be some cost reductions, but there might be some cost increases as well, right? Maybe the training might have a cost component to it. And maybe the utility bill might go up, etc. Okay, so we'll have to look at the incremental impact on costs as well. Right? So let's talk about these 3 in a little more detail. So market characteristics, the first of all, I want to see if this technology allows us to increase the volume of production. Is there sufficient capacity in the market to actually absorb that additional volume, right? Because if there's not, then this might result in a price war, right? So we have to see the overall capacity of the market. Secondly, I want to talk about competitors. Are other carpet manufacturers using similar technology, right? And what kind of results have they seen? And thirdly, I want to talk about customers, both residential and commercial customers that we're currently selling to. And will they be impacted by this change in technology, right? And if yes, do we understand what their preferences are or how they would react to this change, right? Moving on to incremental revenues, here I want to see how will we increase our overall revenues, right? Maybe it's through increased sales because now we have higher throughput, right? We have a machine, we have less reliance on labor, we make less errors, so we are able to produce more carpets. Maybe we have better quality of carpets, right? That also allows us to charge a premium for our carpets. Maybe our cost structure actually gets lowered because of this technology, and that allows us to lower the prices further but really increase the volume that we are selling, right? So I want to really see how this impacts our revenue. And on the cost side, I already know there's an upfront investment of $25 million. In addition to that, are there any hidden upfront costs, right? Maybe the installation costs, right? Maybe any changes that we have to make to our existing manufacturing manufacturing line. And then, of course, we'll have to look at the incremental change in your variable cost and fixed costs, right? So remember, in the current process, we are buying colored yarn, right? Now we are buying undyed yarn and we are coloring it later, right? So is there a change in the cost of sourcing this, right? But we'll have to buy then like the dyes or the ink for the printers later. So that might be an increase in the cost of raw materials, right? So I want to see a cumulative impact of these things, right? Similarly, I want to see a cumulative impact on how the labor is affected, right? Do we require less labor now, right? But again, how would the productivity of these labors now be impacted because now we have a newer process in place? Maybe there might be some upskilling time that's required. So again, I want to see the incremental difference in our labor costs, incremental difference in our maintenance costs for maintaining and upkeeping this machine. Okay, so that's how I would analyze the financial side. Now moving on to a second bucket, which is the strategic impact of this investment, right? So quickly, I won't spend a lot of time here, but a few things that we should be mindful of is the impact on brand, right? If we are known as a company that sells high quality hand woven carpets, And now all of a sudden, we introduce this new technology that goes completely against what we stand for and what we are known for. Right? So we have to make sure that we are aligned with our brand perception. Number two is this aligned with our long-term vision, right? Is this the direction in which the industry is headed, and therefore we're moving towards more technology and more automation? The answer would probably be yes. Right? Everyone is moving towards digital manufacturing. Right? Will this allow us to have more innovative designs, right? Experiment more, because now we can make things faster, right? And then finally, how this impact our customer base or customer loyalty. Moving on to a third bucket, which are key operational considerations. Number one, financing. Do we have line of sight of how will we secure the $25 million that are needed to invest in this technology? Number two, implications for talent or labor, right? What happens to the existing workforce, and how do we train the workforce on this new technology, right? And maybe supply chain setup. Will our existing suppliers be able to provide us the change in the set of supplies that we would need, right? Or do we have to go to new suppliers? Do we need additional storage capacity? Do we need to change something maybe in our transportation and logistics area, etc., so that we are actually able to sustain this investment in technology? And finally, to wrap up our approach, we'll talk about some key risks. Market related risks could be industry direction, customer preferences. Maybe the industry is moving towards hand-woven garments, right? That's the niche where our client can really excel, right? And it could be operations related as well, that there might be some budget overruns, time overruns, impact on business unusual, etc., etc., right? So that's how I would approach this problem. So I hope you found this helpful, and this crystallizes for you on how to crack any investment decision case. With that, I'll wrap up this episode. Until next time, see you and goodbye.